What's going on, Ohio Cannabis Report family? My name is Gerald Moore Jr. I'm the founder of Ohio Cannabis Report. Back to you with another episode. There's been a lot of craziness going on. I know I haven't been coming to you guys on YouTube a lot. I've been focused on Instagram and just being on the floor at the State House and building a coalition with the people because Ohio is a state of 11.8 million people, but we're very disjointed and disconnected. We have three major cities: Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, which have a lot of our population. Then you have rural farm towns, and then you have your suburban communities. But with cannabis legalization passing while we were in COVID, things are just very disjointed. We have a red state. Um, even though cannabis was bipartisan, we passed issue two with over 57% of the vote. And so obviously in the past General Assembly, the politicians have been trying to amend the bill to gut the social equity, to gut tier three, to gut home grow, to gut or to put caps on THC. Um, they want to gut the hemp program. So there's just been a lot. Instead of expanding, the cannabis industry, they've been trying to monopolize and control it with a few, owners of the cultivation, processing, and dispensaries. So we've been fighting very hard. And so that's why I'm coming back to you guys now. I've been energized. Shout out to the Ohio Cannabis Coalition, which is a group of advocates, entrepreneurs, home growers, caretakers, Ohioans from all walks of life, both sides of the aisle, R's, D's, independents, people that probably don't do anything. I don't know. But, we've come together on the common ground of cannabis and cannabis being of benefit to us in some form or fashion, but also to our communities. And so we've come together, put our differences aside to be able to come together and fight for um, a cannabis industry that can benefit us all. And so we've been fighting tooth and nail. We've had there were four or three hearings. They brought up Bill HB 160, and then there was SB 56. SB 56 was the one that a lot of us have been paying attention to because they kind of just molded HB 160 into SB 56. And so they had one hearing with no opponent testimonies, just proponent testimonies and interested parties. The second hearing, we had over 40 people sign up in opposition testimony. The third hearing, we had 40 people sign up for opposition testimony. And then they were scheduling a fourth hearing and for a possible vote. And that happened in the last 2 weeks. And so a lot of us, again, a lot of folks reached out to their lawmakers, the folks on the Judiciary Hearing Committee. And so there was a lot of confusion going on into what they wanted to do. And so they ended up canceling the fourth hearing back to back. So they canceled it one time and then they randomly came back and said, hey, we're going to do this again this week. And then everybody scrambled, called their legislators, got on the phone, email. We did a lot of Instagram stuff. Came back the morning of. People were traveling from all over the state to come to the State House. And word had got out that it had actually been canceled again. So the legislature goes into recess on the 30th, I believe. And so obviously, that's Monday. The governor is getting ready to pass a $60 billion budget. And so for now, it looks like we stalled that any changes to the cannabis laws right now, at least until summertime's up. So it's a battle win. You know what I mean? It's definitely a battle win. Because they're trying to criminalize us again for using cannabis. They're trying to criminalize passengers in a car for using cannabis or passing cannabis. They're trying to criminalize going across the border to Michigan, coming back across the border in Ohio with cannabis. They want to criminalize that. They want to create a fund or not fund, but fines. So you got fines and then jail time, which we do not want. The whole purpose of legalization It's decriminalization. It's getting our people out of jail. It's getting our people out of the prison system. It's helping restore our communities, helping restore our families. And so that's what we want. And so yeah, it's been a long few months, y'all, and I'm sorry I haven't had a lot of time to really put into the podcast or into YouTube. A lot of life has been happening as well, so um, but I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for everybody who has subscribed so far. Thankful for all of our followers on Instagram, TikTok, and make sure you follow us. Follow us on Instagram. I do a lot of the work on Instagram just because I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of build community there in terms of locally. But of course, YouTube is a great space, and we love YouTube. Um, I started live streaming more too, and so we finally got our live stream back on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, so make sure you follow us everywhere, man. I'm trying to, hit everywhere. Make sure we educate. Make sure we build community. Make sure we spread the word of what's going on in Ohio cannabis in the community in the state, because a lot of stuff's happening at the state level that a lot of people are just not aware of. A lot of people don't think that they have a voice or that they can have an impact. But the truth is, you don't even need an ID to go into the state house. You know what I mean? So you can go to the state house. You never know who you're going to bump into. You know what I mean? A couple times I went up there for hearings and I bumped into, different legislators, different media people. My wife's in the media. I ran into the governor. Then a couple weeks ago, me and my wife and our family had a bill signed by the governor. So again, it's the people's house, and the people have to have their voices heard. And the only way you can have your voice heard is if you go to the people making the decisions, and that's the lawmakers. You can't just vote these people in and expect them to do what you want. It's not how it works. They work for the highest bidder and the lobbyists that come and talk to them. So yeah, it's been a lot of work. It's been a great work to really, see how the politics works. You know what I mean? I really don't like politics, but at the end of the day, I understand it's a game. I understand you got to be involved. If you want to have a say, closed mouth don't get fed. And a lot of people will sit here and complain on social media, the internet. Like this social media and internet stuff, that's one thing, but you got to really get out into the real world and actually get involved with what's going on at the state level, at the city level, at the county level, because you can make a change. And they do have resources, they have money, um, and so at the end of the day, we got to be involved at the local level. So that's why I've been focused at the state level. That's why we do Ohio Cannabis Report. Again, shout out to everybody who's been supporting. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share, comment if you want us to cover anything specifically. Like we don't really cover a lot of the companies because I don't want to give a lot. I don't want to give any free promotion to any of these brands and companies because again, they've kept out the community. They've kept out the culture. The legal industry is run by a bunch of rich white people. And it's like, what about the culture? What about the community? What about the people who've been disproportionately harmed by this? They're not educating nobody. They're not really trying to pull nobody up. They're not really trying to throw the lob, the assist. They're not really trying to do nothing. They're trying to get their money first. You know what I mean? Which I get it, it's America, but the cannabis industry doesn't operate like that. And so, get your money while you're getting it. You know what I mean? Because we coming for y'all. You know what I mean? OCAN, all of these organizations, man, because uh, you know, it's about the people at the end of the day. So but I do got some Orange 43 that I wanna hit before I get into the show. I'm also gonna share some latest updates on what's going on in Ohio cannabis news, latest updates on the numbers in Ohio cannabis industry as well. So also wanted to shout out App Girls Cannabis, man. They're doing really great work. Shout out to Josh and the App Girls Cannabis team out of Athens, Ohio, Nelsonville, Ohio, Athens County. Really great brand, 25 milligrams THC. And this is not a paid ad, by the way. They the homies. I appreciate it. I bought this because I appreciate what they're doing. I appreciate how they really are, you know, bringing that noise. So, and then I went to OU. I went to Ohio University in Athens. So, I put on for the Appalachian folks. But this black cherry, so I got this from the France Road Market in Dublin, Ohio. So if you see this video and you want some of this App Girls cannabis, they got about 4 different flavors. Um, the black cherry is it though. But yeah, 25 milligrams THC, cannabis infused beverage, Ohio legacy owned. Let's see, Delta 9 THC, fast acting. And then you can follow him at App Girls Cannabis, man. So yeah, shout out to Josh, man. Josh is a cannabis professor at Hawking College, and one of the founders of the beverage. Forget the other Johnny Red. It's a few of them. Hemp farmer. Really good people, man. Really good people doing really great work out in Athens County and in the state. I think they're one of 33 hemp farmers left in the state. So big ups to them. This is carbonated too, so it's, man, so good. I got there because they did a pop-up taste test. I got there and they only had 2 of these left. I took the last 2. That's fire though. Super fire. And then I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna hit some of this orange 43. Hit some of this orange 43 for the show. So y'all can see that. Let's see. It's going up in there. But yeah, I appreciate all the love, man, all the support. We just getting started. You know what I mean? I'm looking for somebody to join the team too. So if you don't mind being in front of the camera, you want to be a journalist in the cannabis industry, you want to be a media personality, whatever, you know what I mean? Producer, looking for it all. I'm trying to build a whole network. For real, for real. What? You know, kids, what are you gonna do, right? 11:33. They supposed to be in bed. Super tasty. Super tasty. A little hit right there. Orange 43. Orange 43 always a solid. So like for me, I'm a very like when it comes to weed, like I have my few strains, my few things that I like. I really just got into the concentrates over the last 4 or 5 years, ever since we got the program, really. Like, I had white homies that I had a blowtorch, and I'd be like, bro, that shit look crazy. You know what I mean? I went to college, so we'll do the gas mask, I do the gravity bong, I do, but then you pull out the torch with the rig. I'm like, nigga, what is this? What is this? So, I got me a little Puff Go Peak. You don't know if you can see it, but I got the original joint. So that kind of, let me get my feet wet into the concentrates. I had a vapes, flowers typically, but as a father, man, as a parent, somebody has got to like pick up and go, be on the move all the times. The concentrates is perfect. The vapes is perfect. Obviously, I'm a former athlete, so the uh, lotions and stuff like that is good for me, really helpful for me. So that's why I really appreciate Ohio's industry is because again, there's different variations of products. You know what I mean? Like, most people just consume flour. So they're just going to, grind it up, put it in a joint, put it in a flour, put it in a wrap, put it in a blunt, whatever, and smoke it. But, as you get more mature, evolve, like, all right, I can't have a joint every time. You know what I mean? Like, I love joints. You know what I mean? Like, but, sometimes I got to stick and move. But I still need my medicine. You know what I mean? So, I do appreciate the program in that sense in Ohio. I became a medical patient, used the medical card really to get access into the industry, to also be able to share my story as a medical patient, as somebody that was self-medicating before legalization ever took place. And so really a platform to share my story as well and to get, a story out there because there's a lot of people that consume cannabis for a lot of different ways. You don't have to get high if you don't want to get high. Not everybody wants to head high. Some people like the head high. Some people like the focus that it brings. Some people like the healing that it brings. So, everybody has to find their level. You know what I mean? Like you may just be a CBD person, CBN, CBG. You might just be a small micro dose, somebody that needs a little bit of a gummy, a half a gummy to go to sleep. You know what I mean? My wife, she take a half a gummy, go to sleep. It helps her relax. Um, so everybody has to find their balance. Like everybody deals with pain differently, right? Like when you go to the doctor and you get, Tylenol, ibuprofen, or whatever, drug there, you're not getting the same dose as everybody else. So cannabis is the same thing. Body mass index, how big you are, how low you are, how much body fat you have, all those things play a role. So again, to anybody, just this is educational, entertainment purposes only. I am not a doctor. I am not a cannabis bud tender or anything like that. All personal experience. So find a doctor, go to your nearest dispensary, find your local, cannabis consultant, somebody in the industry. This is just all personal experience and hearsay, what I've heard, personal opinion, personal thoughts. So yeah, with no further ado, I'm gonna share my screen here and go over some of the data of what's been going on in the industry. Let me see here. Oh, it's been a lot, man. But shout out to everybody in the Ohio Cannabis Coalition, Consumer Coalition. Shout out to all the people throwing events, man. I know it's been a lot of events. I haven't been able to make it. Shout out to Piehead Genius. It's Piehead Genius's birthday today. Shout out to Paper Maker Genetics. They've been putting on some great events. Shout out to Ronnie, it's Ohio boys. Shout out to Sarah Koya with I forget the name of her business in Athens. Cool Digs. Shout out to Cool Digs, Sarah Koya, and the grassroots Ohioans. Shout out to Ohio Normal. Shout out to Eric Whited, Rodney Hash, Anthony Riley, Ohio Cannabis Live. Um, just a vet. James. Who else we got? Who else? Civics Cannabis, Matt. Man, so many people have been putting a lot of great work. um, Shout out to the politicians that have really been willing to listen on both sides. There's been some on both sides that haven't listened, but there's definitely been some on one side more than others, I would say, that have listened. But uh, you know, it's part of what we're doing here. So here's an article from the Columbus Dispatch. Ohio marijuana laws changes stall and state house cities are paying the price. So Ohio cities with marijuana dispensaries won't receive tax money until lawmakers agree on changes to issue 2, which voters approved in 2023. So key points here: Ohio is withholding tax revenue from cities with marijuana dispensaries until state lawmakers agree on cannabis and hemp regulations. Local governments express frustration over the withheld funds, while state officials claim they lack the constitutional authority to release the money without a specific appropriation. The debate over marijuana and hemp regulations will continue in the fall. Ohio will continue to withhold money from the cities. So the 2-year budget approved by the House and the Senate maintains current funding for municipalities, which is 36% of the tax revenue from the adult use cannabis sales. But lawmakers won't release that money until they reach an agreement on rules for marijuana and intoxicating hemp products. Republicans hope to have a deal on marijuana before the legislature's summer break, but it didn't happen, punting the issue to later this year. Local leaders say that puts them in a difficult spot on trying to fund services without money they were promised. What they're saying is, if we can take your lunch money, we will, said David Kubicki, chairman of the Columbia Township Trustees. Ohio lawmakers reach impasse on marijuana and hemp. As approved by voters in 2023, Issue 2 divides marijuana revenues between local communities, a social equity program, substance use research, and administrative costs. The budget keeps local funding in place and directs the rest of the Ohio's general bank account. Republicans pledged early on to dismantle the social equity program, which aimed to diversify the industry and right the wrongs of cannabis prohibition. State regulators have allowed the program to languish amid uncertainty about its future. But that's not the only part of issue 2 lawmakers want to change. The House and Senate spent months negotiating over Senate Bill 56, which would revise issue 2 and govern gray market cannabis such as Delta 8. The latest version regulates the gifting of homegrown cannabis, allows up to 400 dispensaries, and permits smoking only at private residences and outdoor concert venues. By the way, none of this has changed. If you're in Ohio, we are still legal under the guise of issue 2, home grow up to 12 plants. If you have six per adult in a household, 12 plants. Still adult use. You can still go to a dispensary and purchase with got to be 21 and up with a ID. You still have a medical program. You have to get a medical card. You can still consume in public. Obviously be very careful. If you're consuming in your car, be very careful. If you're consuming in an apartment, you know, um, landlords and private residences can do whatever they want, you know what I mean, with their property. So be mindful of that. But the laws have not changed. And so that's why we're fighting, and that's why we're continuing to raise awareness. Also, if you want to be a part of the Discord, I will add the Ohio Cannabis Coalition Discord into the description on this video. We have a Discord, and so looking for as many people to join, man, and build this coalition. So here we need to specify that they can have more dispensaries, for example, rather than tightly locked number. Rep. Jamie Callender, a Republican from Concord, said the only way we're going to drive the price down to be more competitive with other states is to have more dispensaries. Senate Bill 56 would also set rules for THC beverages and require intoxicating hemp products to be sold in dispensaries. Governor Mike DeWine has repeatedly called on lawmakers to address Delta 8, saying a loophole in federal law makes it easy for children to buy untested products. Again, children, like we haven't seen a huge spike, right, in children getting access to cannabis, overdosing, hospitalized, dying. Nobody's ever died from cannabis. Okay. So again, this isn't something like they're using the children to create this, you know, kids are getting more sick finding their parents' medicine. Kids are getting more sick on Tylenol, aspirin, and stuff like that, alcohol. So again, this is just an alarm. Boomers going crazy, right? Reefer madness all over again. Oh my God, the kids are getting untested package or untested product. Oh my God, and now again, we don't want bad actors. You know what I mean? We don't do the spray pack. If y'all out there selling a spray pack, if y'all out there selling the kids and trying to entice kids on the street, stop it. They gonna come get you. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I get it, you know. But if you putting fentanyl in the product and stuff like that, you know what I mean? We don't rock like that. You know what I mean? So I'm the type of person, I like to know my growers. I like to know my people who. So again, when you are around people that actually love the plant, care for the plant, it's a different energy. You know what I mean? And so again, I think, yeah, there's bad actors, there's people just trying to get money. Um, and so again, it's up to all of us, right? At the end of the day, it's up to the cannabis community, it's up to the legislators, it's up to doctors, it's up to the whole community, for us to work together, and to be in harmony. You know what I mean? Because obviously this is, new territory. You know what I mean? Um, but I believe it can be done. Um, Rep. Brian Stewart, our Republican from Asheville, said there were too many differences among Republicans to reach a compromise before the end of June. Hemp became a major sticking point. Some lawmakers want to put it in the dispensaries, while others believe the plan would hurt legitimate businesses selling CBD products. If we want to truly protect consumers and make sure these products are safe, we want to make sure we have a legitimate market for them rather than having them go elsewhere. Rep. Tex Fisher, Republican, said. What's next for local marijuana money in Ohio? Another hangup: how much money local governments should get. The earlier version of the budget distributed 20% of the marijuana to cities for just 5 years. Stewart said Republicans couldn't agree on a funding level and will resume that debate in the fall. That's the one we need to really focus on. In the meantime, state officials say they can't give money to locals because issue 2 didn't include a way to spend it. They did give a way to spend it. Like, what are you talking about? We gave a way to spend it, bro. That joint could go to local schools. It can go to addiction services. It can go to reentry services. It can go to housing. It can go to so many things, roads, bridges. Like, what are we talking about? Like, programming. What are we talking about? What did I say? The Ohio Constitution requires an appropriation to release money for the state treasury, from the state treasury. The cannabis industry disagrees. It is our belief that issue 2 was clear about the money going to local communities, said David Boeing, executive director at the Ohio Cannabis Coalition. Our members pride themselves in being good community partners in the areas where they live, work, and do business. The host community fund is a crucial piece of that partnership. This was Ohio state government reporter Haley B. Miller. She can be reached here. Shout out to Haley, great article. The Columbus Dispatch. All right, here are some updates from Ohio Department of Commerce, June 18th, 2025. Currently, we have 37 certificates of operation for cultivators, 23 level 1 dual use certificates of operation, 14 level 2 dual use certificates of operation, Processors, we have 46 certificates of operation, 46 dual use. Testing labs, we have 8 total testing labs, 6 dual use certificates, and then 2 medical only. Dispensaries, we have 153 dual use certificates of operation. Here's the map. So as you can see, this is the state of Ohio, pretty big state. We're surrounded by Indiana, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and Michigan. Michigan is a legal state. Kentucky, I believe, is going legal. West Virginia, I don't think is legal. Pennsylvania is talking about going legal. New York, state of New York's legal. So yeah, this state of Ohio, as you can see, Columbus, Franklin County, blue. A lot of your dispensaries there, and then you got Cincinnati, Hamilton County. So you got a lot there. Then I believe Dayton's over here, so you got a lot there, and then you got Cleveland up here, Cuyahoga County. So a lot of your dispensaries are in your major cities, the 3 Cs, and obviously these smaller counties and towns. As you can see, there's still a lot of counties with no dispensaries in them at all. Noble, Morgan, Athens has 2, so that's what. And Meigs County, surprise, Meigs County don't have it for a reason. But yeah, as you can see, there's still a lot of places. I mean, we have 153. There's 11.8 million people in the state of Ohio. A lot of people, you live right here. You know what I mean? A lot of people going right there, Michigan. You know what I mean? There's people that's living in Columbus going right to Michigan. And there's people coming from Michigan with the pack. So yeah, these are all the dispensaries. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you're in Ohio roll call. What part of Ohio you in? If you're from Ohio, what part of the state you from? If you've never been to Ohio, do you want to visit? Do you want to come? You know what I mean? If you were to come, ask some questions, which I try to help you out. I'm originally not from Ohio. So I'm a transplant, been here for a few years. Was recruited as a football player here, met my wife here, started a family and a business here. So we in Ohio. Let's see, physicians as of 6/12/2025, 569 physicians. So again, you still can get your medical card here. And again, the medical card is for, like, if you have a job, that drug test, it kind of gives you that protection, because again, this is a medicine. So, HIPAA violations and stuff like that. If you get fired for, taking your medicine. And that was another thing in SB 56 that they were trying to change, that employers could fire you if they drug test you and you had cannabis in your system, and then they could prevent you from getting your unemployment. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of crazy stuff. And it's mainly stuff that would hurt poor people, poor people, Black people. Again, if you don't have a home, you rent, where you gonna smoke at? In your car. You know what I mean? If you don't have a house, if you don't have a basement, a garage, a backyard, you know what I mean? You might have to go to a park to smoke. You know what I mean? So again, everybody don't have $300-400 for a Puffco P. Everybody don't know about Puffco P. Like, there's just so many different barriers. And again, they're just trying to make it more barriers to entry to even participate, not just participate economically, and then let alone for medicine. All right, patients and caregivers as of 4/29/2025, we have 1,153,194 recommendations, 454,947 registered patients. Now look at that disparity. Like these are the recommendations, and then these are the people that actually register as patients. Then you have 25,873 patients with veteran status, 26,658 patients with indignant status, 1,528 patients with terminal diagnoses. So that's like cancer and stuff like that. 97,852 uh, patients with both an active registration and an active recommendation. So even look at that. So you got recommendations registered and then with an active registration. And I know my card is lapsed and I'm been like, I just need to hit up my doctor. She usually hook me up. Shout out to Dr. Bridget. If you need a card, hit up Dr. Bridget Williams. Again, it's not a paid ad. You know what I mean? It's just a homie. Also, go check out our book, Courage and Cannabis, um, Volume 2. Where is it right now? No, yeah. On Amazon bestseller, Courage and Cannabis, Volume 2, The Triumphant Stories. Go cop that on Amazon. I'm going to put that link in there too, so you can find the link. Let's see where we at. Where I say we at. 435,487 unique patients who purchased medical marijuana reported to ORS. And you have 41,788 registered caregivers. Sales numbers as of 6/14. Um, Medical sales began January 14th, 2019. Non-medical sales began August 6th, 2024. So pounds of plant material, non-medical 89,951, medical 321,489 for a total of 411,426 units of manufactured product, non-medical 9,860,825, medical 29,871,962 for a total of 39,732,842. Total plant sales. So for non-medical, you have 587,448,062. For medical, you have 2,180,255,996 for a whopping total of $2 billion, $2,767,705,113. So that's from January 2019 to 6/14, 2 billion. And then when it comes to that social equity money and money that will go to communities, it's only non-medical. So it's only that this 36% of 587,000. Hey Siri, what's 36% of 587,448,062? Hey Siri, what's 36% of 587,448,062? It's too hard for Siri right now. Yeah, somebody put that in the chat right now. I ain't got time to be. So
something went wrong. Please try again.
Clearly. Total receipts. Let me see. We'll ask ChatGPT real quick. What's up, chat? What's 36% of $587,448,062? So that'll be for people, for communities, this distribution is $211 million, almost 200. Yeah. So $211 million is supposed to go to local communities that have dispensaries in their community. And then obviously the communities that have more dispensaries will get more money. But obviously those communities have bigger populations as well. And a lot of these communities are hurting, man. Roads, bridges, I mean, we just came out of a pandemic. Kids is expensive, inflation, gas prices, insurance, rent, mortgage, and everything's getting more and more expensive. And so that money could go, obviously people are using that money going in to support those businesses, and those businesses and the state should be able to support those people supporting those businesses. Plant sales average per tenth of an OZ, $18.97. Plant sale average per gram, $6.70. Manufacturer sale average, $28.63. Okay, over. Wow, here's some of the new facility highlights: dispensaries, Theory Wellness and Sullivan, Curaleaf, OGT, Mother's Grows Best, Air Wellness, True Relief, Cannabis Dispensary. We'll go to the historical sales data. Go all the way to the end for y'all. I'll wrap y'all up. So here's June 23rd, 2025. Pounds for plant material, non-medical, 92,666. Medical, 322,290. Let's see the numbers. So sales, you got 603 million, 690,196. And then medical, you got 2,184,000,000, $735,066. Then total, you got for both non-medical and medical, $2 billion, 2,780. Oh, let me. $2 billion, 2,788,426,317. So again, the state pushing that weed, bro. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all do the whole thing that y'all do, man. Hit me up, chat. I'm trying to go crazy on the YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Let me find some more articles for y'all too. Let me know some questions y'all have. For me, I've been to some of the dispensaries here in Columbus, Springfield. We get information from around. Like I said, I'm not really a huge fan. Like I'm not somebody to go to Michigan. I get, I have friends that grow. I got my own grow. So I always have tree, you know what I mean? I'm not a fan of how the industry started. I'm not a fan of like the legacy folks not getting the love that they supposed to get. You know what I mean? I just feel like we should be celebrating it more, but it still feels like it's something that's frowned upon. Obviously, it's still something that it's very much so like still taboo. Do it behind closed doors, right? Like as long as I don't see it or smell it, we'll act like it don't exist. But alcohol's fine. Everything else is fine. And what I find out is like most people, they don't even know when people have, right? They have the propaganda, and then other people just don't like the smell. So it's like, oh my god, well, you wouldn't even know I was high if you didn't see me smoke. You wouldn't know if I didn't smell like bud. You wouldn't know. I choose to be out and proud and loud though, because at the end of the day, this is a medicine that has helped me. It's helped so many people. It's such a great plan. Like, and I feel like it makes me want to be a better person. Like it makes me not want to crash out. Cause I'd be ready to crash out. But then I smoke, I'd be like, all right. Because I'm a very optimistic person as well. I'm a very grounded person. I'm a very spiritual person. But when you live in America for 35 years and you done navigated this space and you be like, bro, like America make you want to crash out, bro, kamikaze style. But the weed, give me some weed. I'm kicking. I'm kicking. So it's just how I roll. Let's see. I'll get some articles for y'all. We made it to Forbes, though. We made it to Forbes. Ohio GOP lawmakers press pause on amending cannabis legalization. Sure. Let's see what they. I had the experience a month or so ago being in some unnamed state. You walked around the city, and there was a rare time when you were not smelling marijuana, DeWine said at the time, according to the report from the Columbus Dispatch. The voters have said people have a right to smoke marijuana. That's fine. But other people have the right not to smell it and not to have their kids and grandkids exposed to it. It's such a like pretentious thing. It's like your kids smell fumes from the exhaust from a diesel truck. Your kids smell fumes from the cars, right? Like your kids smell cigarette smoke. They smell alcohol. You're drinking a fucking Bud Light. Nobody wants to smell your hot piss breath. You know what I mean? So again, it's all preference, but it's loud. I get it. It be loud. I like being loud sometimes. I like being a little colorful. And I'm sorry that may offend some of y'all. And I'm not sorry. We ain't sorry for it because we've been held down too long by this. Some people just don't. Well, guess what? Some people just don't want to be bothered with y'all. So maybe y'all should be the ones to stay out the way. Cause Kush be my cologne. Protect the children, by the way. You know what I mean? No blowing smoke in the children's face. You ain't gotta roll up with the babies right there. You can escape to the backyard, to the patio, to the garage, walk around the block, make sure they taking a nap. You know what I mean? We gotta be responsible adults here. But as people hotboxing cigarettes with they daughters in some of these small towns, bro, with no car seat, no tail light, no license. Get the fuck out. Ohio Senate passes bill to amend voter-approved cannabis legalization. In February, the Ohio Senate passed Senate Bill 56, a measure to amend as issue 2. If passed, the legislation will reduce the maximum THC level of recreational marijuana concentrates from 90% to 70%. The bill would also limit the number of cannabis dispensaries licensed in the state to 400, among other changes. Issue 2. The House version of the bill has significant changes to the legislation, including provisions requiring intoxicating hemp products to be sold in licensed marijuana dispensaries. I already read that in the last one. Uh, Last week, a scheduled vote for SB 56 in the House Judiciary Committee was pulled from the schedule only hours before it was supposed to take place, reportedly, because of infighting between the House and Senate Republicans. Then this week, a scheduled meeting on the committee to consider the legislation was also canceled. Ohio House Speaker Matt Huffman noted last week that the senators had raised more than a dozen concerns about SB 56 months after the bill was passed in the Senate. I just told my caucus, we're not going to just say okay because we're so anxious to pass the marijuana bill, which I'd like to get it done, but we're not going to give up on House priorities to do that, Huffman said. Lawmakers now focus on state budget. So yeah, it's man, it's send help, nigga. Send some money, nigga. Like if y'all want to support a boy, like I take donations. You know what I mean? I take donations through my nonprofit. Green Environmental Outreach as a fiscal sponsor. Help a brother out, man. We've been doing this due diligence, and whole time. If you got HBO Max, go check out Dark Money, which covers the Ohio State House and the racketeering scheme that was led by the previous Speaker of the House, Larry Householder, is now in prison for racketeering. Crazy documentary, must watch, much watch. And then there's another documentary, Surviving Ohio State, that talks about the doctor that was molesting and raping a lot of the Ohio State athletes, thousands of athletes, fucking sick and gross. Jim Jordan he was one of the coaches on the team, and he refused to speak up for his players. I mean, these were wrestlers, but there was more than wrestlers that were being assaulted. And I mean, when you hear these stories, like this doctor had a locker in every team's locker room, every male team's locker room. He had his own locker, and he would shower with the athletes. Like, I played college ball, and every now and again, a coach may come in and shower. We are all grown ass men. But the way they said he was going into these locker rooms, like he was jerking off sometimes. Like, what? What? And I'm like, what? And like, I moved to Ohio, I was like, I knew something was a little shaky, a lot of shaky. Epstein then came through here, wet, name. So I'm sorry, I know a lot of gang niggas, but and y'all can't say it either. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy out here, man. It's wild out here. And don't ban me. And don't ban me, y'all. You know what I mean? I know people like to report people and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on in Ohio. You know what I mean? And in terms of cannabis, it's a lot. I mean, they want to do this. It just came out. Dave Yost Blast plan to use unclaimed funds. They want to use unclaimed funds for the new Cleveland Browns stadium. Y'all, if you're in Ohio, go see if you got some funds, bro. You could claim your funds right here and show you how to, like, go get your bread, bro. I'm about to start a company to find people and take a percentage. If I get you your bread, like, you gotta pay me 10% of that bread. Because the people is loafing. Like, how you ain't got no money, but then you like they trying to give you unclaimed funds and you don't want your bread, bro. Shh. Go get y'all money, man. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. But yeah, it's been a lot going on in the state of Ohio, man. Again, we're growing. Appreciate everybody that subscribed so far. Shout out to all of our subscribers. I look forward to do some more events. Again, we want some lounges, cannabis lounges. I'm not really a bar type person these days. You know what I mean? The bar be too lit for me. So even if you having hemp derived cannabis products at your bar, like, I still don't really like the vibe of the. I don't like how bars be smelling stink. Like, just be niggas get too sloppy and too drunk. Like, niggas be lightweights. Niggas be wanting to talk and shit. Like, nah, bro. Slizzing your words and shit. So I much rather, a cannabis, friendly place that good vibes, comfortable, getting a little food truck, something like that, private location, maybe members only. But there's a lot of opportunities. Again, I think there's a lot of opportunities for that. I think, entrepreneurs are going to get more creative. People with money are going to get more creative. And so this is just the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, I know sometimes we can get like ahead of ourselves. I know I can do it sometimes, but literally we just legalize. And so I think it's perfect time to continue to celebrate during the summer, continue to organize, continue to educate ourselves and our community, and get ready for the fall, because they're gonna come back and they're gonna try to do something else. You know what I mean? And I say, we got to build a coalition. It's, voting season is around the corner. So, if they don't want to oblige by what the voters, voted for, then you got to vote them out. But also you have to hold them accountable. So that's what we plan to do with Ohio Cannabis Report. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. I'll put all the links in the description. And again, we appreciate all the support. Peace.